Currently 11:20 a.m. and as my documentation showing the fake sun over Tracy Banks's apartment. Tracy Banks is identified as a defendant, legally speaking, in the prosecution of the state of California, which, as you're understanding, as you are, again, if you've ever heard of the saying, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, as I go and document the federal government, the United States government, what's going on in this country, in other words, the so-called free world, the so-called leader on the global stage regarding human rights, regarding a free and dignified society. These are ideas. This is essentially propaganda while the federal government is engaged in what is federal group stalking monitoring. The federal government is engaged in gang stalking. And the proof of that is what the state of California is practicing as an entire state, what the state of California is practicing as I travel from California to the state of Nevada, an adjacent state, where the state of California is practicing the pattern of conduct as I go from city to city. And what is tying together that criminal pattern of conduct is the behavioral pattern, which is psychopathic, amongst what is an environment that defies nature. It is a scientific phenomenon, which is the identification of that which is demonic, that you can recognize with your own eyes and with your ears. As I document things such as amplification, I capture the sound of the train. You're witnessing the demonic. You're looking at people that are walking around under what is not the natural environment, meaning not the sun, and they're not walking around in sunlight or driving around in sunlight or sounding train activity and sirens in that sunlight, amongst that sunlight. You're looking at demonic activity, and it's criminal, as the federal government is utilizing, as I stated, lower level demons with regard to this satanic targeting system that is for the purpose of ostracizing an American citizen, isolating them, and doing so in a manner that is entirely psychologically harmful by design, meaning in the presence of that population that is under all circumstances focused on that target individual. And that focus on that target individual is not exhibited through what is the strangers who are stalking by identification in the environment and the activity that they're creating in that deliberately designed environment, which is also pointing to their mental illness, while malice is unveiled and malice is exhibited while that deliberate engagement in what is a code of conduct. It is literally a common pattern with regard to the activity that is created amongst a population that both knows personally, has a relationship with, and does not have a relationship, which is not required with regard to federal group stalking monitoring, while a government is targeting an American citizen whom the government is aware of who they are, spiritually speaking, and for whatever purposes that the government would like to remove a person from existence by kidnapping them, falsely depicting their character in doing so, or essentially taking their life, either through gang stalking, and which results in suicide, or gang stalking which results in what is a murder. And it's not an accident or an act of negligence or some sort of oversight. The entity is engaging in gang stalking with the intent to create what is a loss of life. And the malice of forethought is in the evidence of federal group stalking and monitoring. The entity is gang stalking, as I documented in the video captured today at 9:46 a.m. and the video ended at 10:08 a.m. And I also spoke to the fact that this is the same exact position where the fake sun is in alignment to me in a manner that defies nature. And that's with regard to evidence that is off the top of my head. The sun is over Tyreek Hill in the Miami Police Department in Miami, Florida at 10:20 in the morning. This video ends at 10:08 a.m. today during daylight savings time. There's no sun that's within the natural environment that's over any other state. It's not even over any other street or location. It's directly over me, where I've already documented this is where this light source remains over this specific building in alignment to me until the end of the day after 6 p.m. And you are also aware of the entity gang stalking in this specific environment as I am traveling and remaining in Las Vegas, Nevada, where at 12:08 in the afternoon, like I referenced in this video, the sun is in its zenith over the top of my head, much like it is as I remain at this same exact apartment building in the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is gang stalking, where this fake son is in the exact same position as I walk to this apartment, unit number 48, where the fake son will be over this same location, over the specific apartment as I walk to that specific apartment. So the vantage point of this fake son is speaking to what is the gang stalking by that population, and it is, as I've already shown, and I'm going to go ahead and show you that again, the entity that is gang stalking in an environment that is deliberately maintained for purposes of surveillance, in a satanic environment where the fake sun is rising on one side of the building and setting on the opposite side. And so let me again edit this so that you can see it in real time. This is the explanation for what is the fake sun that is over the apartment itself, unit number 48, at 9:46 in the morning in the video. And what you're seeing here, where the fake sun is rising, where the fake sun is setting here and rising here. That is speaking to the specific environment, not the natural environment. This is speaking to the identification where a community such as Woodside Senior Apartments is engaged in what is the government system of targeting American citizens. It is domestic terrorism that's happening in a so-called civilized society such as the United States, such as within the state of California. And that pattern of conduct is shared with what I documented in another city, in another county, which is how you prosecute the state, which is how you prosecute the federal government that is engaged in this criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring. And it is demonic. As the fake sun rising and setting at one address exposes and unveils and reveals, and it's speaking to also what is actual mental illness as opposed to the illusion of mental illness that a government relies on in order to kidnap an American citizen, that it is targeting in order to kidnap. And this is for purposes of what is deliberately crafted legislation that gang stalking entities such as the state of California, such as the federal government, utilizes to kidnap. And this is what is relevant to gang stalkers such as Jason Isaac Fields, whose literal position in the government is based on his personal association with me, where the government is providing opportunities to corrupt actors, demons, who are willing to sacrifice those whom the entity wants to target. And so this is capitalized off of what is association with me, while that demon that is within the government, that is targeting an American citizen, is engaging in what is the system for purposes of murder and kidnapping. And that is speaking to the threat that gang stalkers such as Jason Isaac Fields, in association sexually and engaging in what is a relationship personally with Tracy Banks, unbeknownst to me. This is speaking to somebody that's not actually my friend, in addition, not only because of having sexual relations with my mom behind my back, and I never even introduced the two demons to each other in person. The entity that is gang stalking through those who are in my personal life, who are benefited. This is how the government recruits people with regard to targeting me, being paid an amount of money to target me, and hire me, such as speaker companies, in order to do so. This is the same federal government that is corrupt and has unclean hands, and is the same one that is needed in order to enforce your rights against the gang stalking community that's acting on behalf of the corrupt federal government. This is simultaneously speaking to the threat that terrorists documented already, such as Jason Isaac Fields, and whatever agency in particular that he represents, which is speaking to the bigger picture, the corruption of the federal government, that is not ignorant about the ways in which gang stalkers, demons, corrupt public officials such as Jason Isaac Fields, and every other lower level demon, such as the mayors, such as the governor of the state of California, are engaging in this criminal system. Okay? This is how you have those who are in your life engaging in the pattern of conduct, all unbeknownst to the ordinary targeted individual. And it is a threat to your life, and the government that is gang stalking through those who have association, incentivizing targeting you through giving them opportunities that they would not otherwise be capable of achieving, for purposes of targeting you in ways in which that they are after having studied you and not actually befriending you, actually having been acquainted with you in your life's details by virtue of feigning to be your friend, or feigning interest in you even romantically, et cetera, et cetera. This is the purpose in speaking to the unlawful threat, and this is exactly why I'm stating federal prison with regard to the targeted individuals' associations, those whom they know, those whom they associated with, who were in their personal life, who would come over your house, you would hang out with them, and you're being subject to the pattern of conduct. You're being subject to an egregious sex offense. gangs. You're being gang stalked by everyone in your community, like I'm documenting at Woodside Senior Apartments, by a bunch of psychopaths who are pacing under a fake sun that's in the same exact position it is at 4:20 in the afternoon as it is in the morning in this video that I captured at 9:46 a.m. This is the entity that is gang stalking with those who are in your personal life. This is the significance of documenting public officials that are in the government, such as a compromised and exposed agent such as Jason Isaac Fields, who is still to date gang stalking in and abusing the position that he holds, literally is given this position incentivizing terrorism, which is speaking to murder and kidnapping via criminal defamation, and abusing their position in government in order to do so in concert and on behalf, while having satanic sex rituals with his wife, his kingdom spouse, Tracy Banks, my mother, who is a witch, and they both practice witchcraft together. And this is speaking to the witchcraft that is federal group stalking and monitoring as a government practices it. And that demonic system, that practice of witchcraft, is literally evident to you in an environment that defies nature. This is what is relevant with regard to tying all those relevant details together. And I want you to see what I documented regarding the psychopaths who are subject to a mental asylum, regardless of the fact that the federal government itself is incentivizing gang stalking by corrupt and mentally ill gang stalkers such as RGS Landscaping, who's targeting me while they're monitoring my devices, and the federal government is still targeting while documentation remains underway. They make position outside of this apartment under the fake sun, and they begin drilling in the ground with regard to stalking with noise, stalking in the path, and harassing and criminally interfering with quiet enjoyment based on the fact that I am documenting the evidence of their gang stalking while I'm taking screenshots. The demon-possessed gang stalker in Unit 55 doing the exact same with that which that psychopath has at her disposal, which is the supernatural ability to create loud amplified booming while she's walking around, or while she's, I guess, dropping a cup on the floor, and it creates an amplified booming. This is the demons who are stalking with amplified noise, which is psychological torture in concert with the entity that is. These are psychopaths who are demon possessed, and all they're doing is pacing incessantly under a fake sun and engineered light, monitoring me, and you are stalking while you are monitoring. You are not protected. You are identified when you are residing at the facilitating venue, when you are employed at the facilitating venue, when you are present by any means at the facilitating venue. It is the malice of a government that is engaging in what is domestic terrorism in the United States, and uses the lower level demons who I have exposed in the state of California. So I want to be clear, the mental health patients gang stalking out of Unit 41, this is what I'm speaking to, and this is what you will see as I am capturing it on, again, this day, which you can see. This is a screen recording. I'll go ahead and show you. This is a screen recording that is captured on March 23rd, 2025. The video ends at 5 p.m. on the dot, 5 p.m. in some seconds, and the video begins with reference to what's happening at the same time in Los Angeles. That's why I take screen recordings, because I'm showing you the fake sun that's, by the way, over me at 9:46 in the morning, and days earlier, March 23rd, 2025, that was just days ago, the fake sun is at the same exact apartment complex in perfect alignment with me, where even the same mental health patients are pacing. And not coincidentally, when I referenced that, that's exactly what they were doing on this date under an idle fake sun, in conformity to a statewide pattern of conduct, which is operation of the federal government's domestic terrorism and psychological torture. These government programs run on human beings, and those who are in the life of that targeted individual that the government wants to conduct experiments on, they are incentivized with targeting you, profiting off of targeting you by being given positions and money, being given opportunities, such as Jason Isaac Fields. This is a terrorist. This is a psychopath who is also, again, targeting me spiritually. And this is my identification to tie together what the federal government is doing. He is not the only public official. He is not the only gang stalker. He's not the only demon-possessed a third party or state actor that has profited from what is targeting me. Okay, Jason Isaac Field merely represents what is a federal official that is exposing what the federal government is not actually ignorant about, nor reasonably capable of maintaining some positions, such as ignorance about what is a government program that has long existed however, never before proven. In addition to what is the significance of monitoring, what is monitoring, and what is the condition of those who are engaging in monitoring. And they are in the physical, as we would recognizing it, and the propaganda that's speaking to a campaign of misinformation regarding what is actual mental illness, which the demon possessed, that is Satan, wants you to be ignorant about. And it is actually the greater population that is actually, by definition, mentally ill, while this psychopathic system is underway throughout the United States. And you are aware that through the specific environment, we're pacing not normal everyday life, people minding their business, people running their social media accounts, people just going about ignorantly unless they know you, unless they talk to you, unless you've ever met them. That is all an illusion. That is all farcical. There is a system of surveillance going on in the United States, number one. And number two, that system of surveillance is satanic. And the government that knows about everyone and also is filled with the demon possessed who serve Satan targets those, that is, runs experiments on human beings, which is federal group stalking and monitoring, for purposes of murder, for purposes of trying to steal spiritual gifts, such as the ability to discern demons, which the demon possessed public officials, the government itself, knows who you are. They know who you are. And this is speaking to the motive, where I'm able to prove the criminal system that I'm subject to and also tell you why they targeted me since I was born. Okay, this is speaking to mental illness on the part of the corrupt government, who are they're nothing other than people who have positions in government who serve Satan, strategically placed demons, who are targeting those who follow Christ, who are targeting those, even if you haven't come to Christ yet. Satan knows that what it is. Satan doesn't know everything, but Satan knows that you will, and that you've been deposited with certain spiritual gifts. Now, there are people that have spiritual gifts and they've been given over to the enemy. They use their gifts to worship Satan. They use their gifts to personally profit and target others, which is what gang stalkers are doing, by the way. This is what, and gang stalkers is nothing other than a synonym for demons. And it's the federal government's program. The federal government is using a whole bunch of lower level demons who fill the state of California and the state government. And I have exposed all of them as I have prosecuted the state. And this is the federal government that is now again targeting me and simultaneously suppressing my evidence while keeping me subject to the system. And it is the prosecution of the United States government. Now, I want to show you these mental health patients that are pacing out of the same apartment, unit 41, that they're doing at 4:20 p.m., where the fake sun is over the same apartment at 9:46 in the morning. This is the same condition while this fake sun is on the opposite side of the same building, like is the pattern of conduct, where I'm showing you recognition of a system of surveillance that is in reliance on a population of who are actually mentally ill, the demon possessed, as the mental health patients in unit 49 clearly exhibit for you. This is exhibit A. Who are targeting you under a fake sun and maintaining and perpetuating a false environment altogether with regard to conditioning your mind is evidence speaking to the prosecution of the lower level demons who are the state of California gang stalking on behalf of the feds. All right, who are gang stalking with regard to knowledge that is being documented and with regard to the malice that's exhibited while that ongoing obsession is illustrated. Okay, people willing to sacrifice their freedom, sacrifice their children, sacrifice their careers while they are engaging in that ongoing psychopathic engagement. These are demons who are pacing. These are the two same demons that were doing the same thing under this fake sun that was feet away over the same tree after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, I'm referencing this video above that's captured on March 23rd, 2024 at 4:40 p.m., where this video ends at 5 p.m. First of all, there's a few things in this specific environment where the fake sun is going to be over me at the same address. I'm at unit 51 at Woodside Senior Apartments, and the fake sun is on the opposite side of the same apartment building in alignment to me, which is a supernatural phenomenon. It's demonic. It's the identification of demons who are by definition stalking, and this is the prosecution of a government that practices this surveillance system and literally exterminates human beings whom it places in what are human experiments, and then uses that to falsely depict and perpetuate a false narrative, an entirely demonic system of mischaracterization, the defamation of the character of those who are human beings who are not mentally ill under any circumstances whatsoever. They are subject to psychological torture that causes them to question their own mental health. It causes them to question reality. It causes them to question the intent of everyone around them, which is not paranoia. It is somebody that is deliberately targeted by demons who are monitoring everything with regard to physically stalking them in the path and knowledgeable about everything, that all of the fears, all of their thoughts, everything that they're experiencing, even in their mind, which is what demons are doing. Gang stalking you physically, and they're also psychologically targeting. Their psychological warfare while the demon possessed are spiritually attacking you. This is what drives a person to the edge. That's not mental illness. That's targeting a fragile and complex human being. And the corrupt government, the federal government, and the states that are acting in, these are lower level demons that are doing the bidding of the corrupt United States government. Okay? So this is, again, not giving a pass to the Ontario Police Department or to the Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, the San Bernardino County Sheriff. This is not a pass at all. They're doing nothing other than what the federal government permits them to do, requires them to do. They're doing their job, and they get paid to do it. This is the system in the United States. Not only that, you're looking at what is mental illness in operation, while you're looking at demons who are very much focused on every word that I say. It's not a coincidence that the very same two demons out of the same apartment in the same specific environment, in the video that I'm referencing what they did on another day, which is incriminating them. And with the bigger picture, it's incriminating everyone else. But it's speaking to the mental illness, both on the demise to their own interest, both on the obvious engagement in the criminal pattern of conduct, as no one is ignorant about it anymore, and also speaking to the mentally ill who are more focused and obsessed with me as demons than they are with not acting like you're gang stalking, like you clearly are under the fake sun at 9:46 in the morning and at 4:40 in the afternoon in the same specific environment, pacing like psychopaths. This is what I'm referencing. The entity in this video is gang stalking, not only on foot, as you see the mental health patients. It's the male that's driving the white BMW that's walking back to his car on my right side as I'm facing south, capturing this fake sun over my head right here. And you're paying attention to what is at the same time with the state that's flying from behind the fake sun, right over my head in the same manner, in concert with the demons that are pacing on both sides of my person. This is very demonic. She's walking also in what is sunlight that's appearing in the shade out of nowhere. This is the entity that is gang stalking together with the state as well. So I want you to pay attention to this again, and then you're going to look at what's happening, what they're doing with regard to what I was also capturing at the same time on the same day a year ago on March 23rd, as I referenced it above, at March 23rd, 2024 at 4:40 p.m., where again at this same Woodside Senior Apartments, the fake sun, which was 6 days ago, is remaining over this same apartment. That's the prosecution of the state, and it's the diagnosis of mental illness and the prosecution of the federal government that uses lower level demons who are doing what is their job. Terrorism is the way of life throughout the states in this country. And you are aware of that because there is no natural environment that is present on the East Coast where I'm showing you the fake sun is remaining over this apartment building from 9:46 in the morning until 5 p.m. That's how you know that. Okay, and throughout the body of evidence, which is the P.O.C. So again, look at
evidence speaking to the prosecution of the lower level demons who are the state of California gang stalking on behalf of the feds. All right, who are gang stalking with regard to knowledge that it's being documented, and with regard to the malice that's exhibited while that ongoing obsession is illustrated. Okay, people willing to sacrifice their freedom, sacrifice their children, sacrifice their careers while they are engaging in that ongoing psychopathic engagement. These are demons who are pacing.
And this is exactly what they were doing on this day as I documented it in the same apartment. And the fake sun is in alignment.
Possible light activity across building number 1802 while he's crossing paths. This is grounds of what is a mental institution for punishment. That's terrorism of the target individual. This is what the people of the state routinely engage in. AGJC 179, impossible light is moving across the dumpster and across his vehicle. 9CYE 154. This is P.O.C. He was also monitoring with the LAPD the other day under the light source. And he's engaging with the ongoing act of terrorism. The people of the state engage in what is crossing path. They're stalking you in the path and surrounding with engineered light. The entity is criminal summoning, sounding walking around, and then later you have moments later what is the entity engaging in what is hitting surfaces with engineered light under what's not even the sun. License 6MFK661. She's the one going to federal prison. She's engaged in an act of obstruction of justice on camera. While I'm documenting, the entity is doing so, and this is what LAPD follows moments later. So I want to be clear. I'm going to go ahead and document her right now because she's not even parked while she's crossing path. Hi. You know you can't park here, right?
Yeah, I just gotta get something real quick.
Oh, just for a moment? Okay, that's fine. the one that's crossing paths on camera while I'm documenting. The entity likes to do that because, and they don't understand, ordinarily the target individual, it does not have the ability to identify what's going on.
So first of all, I'm capturing the screen recording on March 23rd, 2024 at the same time to show you what is the impossible on multiple levels. First of all, it's impossible that the sun is over what is building 1802 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, California, 90026 at 4:40 p.m. where I'm documenting the sunrise through my living room window on a daily basis and capturing the sunset through my bedroom window. As the entity evolved and deviated from what it was doing with the fake sun, the more that I documented, the more spectacular and ridiculous, which is speaking to a threat and terrorism, while the entity is stalking with the fake sun and also gang stalking you continuously as you document it and show again the asininity of this conduct with this engineered light and the fake sun. Not only that, so you're looking at what is the fake sun at the same apartment, Tracy Banks's apartment, the obvious defendant, and also the identification of a mental health patient, somebody that is mentally ill, actually mentally ill. Psychopaths engaging in targeting one person together, targeting in very demented ways, targeting in ways which are highly malicious, designed to psychologically torture the person whom they are targeting for no legitimate purpose, for no reason at all whatsoever, and also deriving pleasure from it. This is the broad definition, generally speaking, of psychopaths. And this is what the government practices as well. This is sanctioned by the federal government. This is the routine business and operation of the state governments. This is speaking to what is impossible while the sun is in perfect alignment with me at 4:40 p.m. and I'm showing you the environment on the same day at the same time in Los Angeles. And you are looking at what is impossible on another level because at 9:46 a.m. I'm at the same apartment and the entity is gang stalking while I'm inside of the same apartment and you're looking at the sun, which is speaking to non-movement of what is supposed to be a constantly moving gaseous ball of fire that also isn't hovering directly on the top of trees where it would be setting it on fire. It's not so low that it's reflecting off of the sides of vehicles that are far on the ground, as I am at a distance from those vehicles, and the light is so powerful that it's creating the shadow of the bodies who are walking through that so-called quote-unquote light reflection off of windshields and passenger and driver side windows. That's not sunlight either, under an idle, non-moving light source. From the beginning until the end of the day. These are the multiple layers regarding the specific environment. Documenting, I want to be clear, from Los Angeles, California to San Bernardino County, California, as you are understanding what is an impossible coexisting environment, as you are understanding the natural environment, and then also as you isolate the universe and just analyze based on what's happening at Los Angeles, because the sun is never going to rise and set over Alvarado Gardens, one address, which is what's happening in Ontario, California at Woodside Senior Apartments. The fake sun is rising and setting at one address, which is what I'm encapsulating even in this video, comparing and showing you what is the fake sun at 9:46 in the morning, and what you'll remember, which is already documented, the fake sun at 4:40 p.m. All right, this is prosecution of the federal government. Okay, while I'm exposing the lower level demons who are the state of California and showing you how those lower level demons practice domestic terrorism and psychological torture as the demon possessed who are engaging in psychological warfare in the mind of that targeted individual. And it is supposed to, again, to the ignorant onlooker and to in furtherance of the corrupt system of the malicious psychopaths who are demon possessed and exercise fictitious authority in the courts and amongst the law enforcement, the government, that kidnaps American citizens and calls what is their psychopathic targeting methods mental illness of that targeted individual that doesn't have evidence to prove and has no way to prove, because how do you prove the invisible? You can't. You are falsely depicted as somebody that's hallucinating and somebody that's paranoid. And that's by design, where demons are engaging in a campaign of psychological warfare in your mind, which you cannot prosecute. But what you can prosecute is the entity that is demon possessed and is gang stalking you in a readily identifiable environment that is understood as being demonic, as it defies nature. It is supernatural. And then you're given context regarding the ways in which that psychological warfare in the mind of that target individual is also not some sort of figure of their imagination. All right. The entity is doing so with the intent to break that American citizen down, to falsely depict their character, to accuse them and frame them for crimes perhaps that they didn't, not perhaps, but I'm saying perhaps with regard to whatever the entity might be trying to accomplish. Frame them for crimes that they didn't commit, falsely depict their character, either even as a criminal or as somebody that's mentally ill. As demons engage in what is targeting your mind, and you're having what are intrusive thoughts, those are coming from demons. Those are spiritual attacks. And you have the abuse of the mental health professionals who claim that to be an outward demonstration of mental illness, and it's actually the product of what are spirits that are attacking the mind of someone. And so you're talking about what is something that is affecting the behavior of a person, but this is not mental illness. That is something that is, for example, that you're born with, or some sort of handicap, if you will. It is the product, it is the result, it is the malicious purpose of federal group stalking and monitoring. What the demons are doing in the physical, which I've proven, you need to understand what they're doing mentally, trying to psychologically intimidate and bully someone while they're stalking them obsessively, which is psychopathic, actually mentally ill behavior of an entity that is fully aware of how it is impossible for the average person to prove it. And the mental illness of the demons in unit number 41 is exhibited while a fake sun remains over their apartment, remains over me where they're stalking me, and doing so with knowledge of the fact that I'm documenting them. And they do so with such boldness because the federal government sanctions this criminal conduct. That's why. And this is speaking to, again, the incompetence and the inability and the unlawful, inhumane, and unconstitutional threat to the life of an American citizen like myself, who is subject to this. And the federal government is the one that you're ordinarily going to in order to enforce your rights against a gang stalking entity such as California. But the federal government is gang stalking. Understand this.
Sex offenders living under a fake sun at an apartment complex. They're all stalking in violation of the Violent Against Women Act. This is getting in the path. They're the same ones under this fake sun at 8:56.
That's the same fake sun at 4:40 p.m. This is exactly what they're doing in this video while I'm at the same apartment complex, at the same apartment. All I'm doing right here is walking outside to show you who's gang stalking in the parking lot, which was license 8GEN 6-8, residing in unit number 47, targeting me, and is also a violent sex offender, just like the third party that I documented at the beginning of this video, stalking in the parking lot by presence in the path, and begins moving their vehicle, which is how they're monitoring me, and they're keeping me under surveillance in that parking lot. This is what this third party is doing as I read their license.
That triggering affect is demonstrated. That is license 6CBB 673. That's a Latino male. He's going to prison. He's gang stalking right now, and that's a sex offender. That's also monitoring my genitalia. He knows what I'm doing while the entity is aiming engineer light inside of the apartment. He knows what I'm looking at on my laptop while the fake son that is sitting right here and remains here where he lives and engages in surveillance and criminal invasion of privacy on.
You're understanding what is a pattern of conduct while he is driving under what is the fake sun that's here at 9:46 in the morning, engaging what is surveillance in the parking lot, just like 8GEN 6-8 is doing at 4:40 p.m. in the afternoon. The same parking lot where this fake sun is over me at this end of the same apartment building. It's just moving from the east end of this building to the west end of the same building, where a population is maintaining what is criminal presence. That's the identification of stalking. And the people of the state that are stalking is the federal government that's stalking. Okay, you have to get through the state in order to recognize the bigger picture, and I've shown that bigger picture when you're able to juxtapose what the Miami Police Department are doing under the fake sun at Eastern Standard Time in an entirely different region, a entirely different state, a different coast. They're on the East Coast, in the South actually. You're understanding what is the bigger picture when I'm going to the state of Nevada and there is no provision for the sun to be over Woodside Senior Apartments, over Alvarado Gardens, over any place in Monrovia, California, Arcadia, California, Kern County, when I'm in Bakersfield, at any point of the day when I'm remaining in Las Vegas and the entity is keeping the fake sun in conformity to a pattern of conduct and in direct contravention of nature. And not only is it over me, remember, it's always directly over me. And wherever it is that I remain, that's where it's rising and setting. This is understanding the recognition of stalking, where there is no constitutional rights of the people of the state who are operating in the shoes of the state, the government. That's operating a federal system of terrorism and psychological torture, where it's not only the entity that's gang stalking in the physical, that same entity is full of demons who are spiritually attacking someone. And this is how you're accomplishing what is the purpose of murdering and criminally defaming. And where they were not able to accomplish it against me, this is where you're getting to demons, such corrupt public officials such as Jason Isaac Fields, such as Tracy Banks, such as Eric Corey Spencer, and every other third party and state actor that has maligned my character and manufactured information while they were simultaneously, they being the entire entity, simultaneously gang stalking and also engaging in what is psychological warfare, and reasonably anticipating that I would snap at one point, that I would act out what is the mental illness that they thought that they were manifesting while the demons were attacking me, and it did not work. And I'm speaking to and testifying to, first of all, that's the reality of the Lord Jesus Christ. But I want to be clear, I'm also prosecuting while the Lord has given me victory in order to speak to what Satan is doing through a corrupt government in the United States of America that is operating far outside of any constitutional authority, while feigning and exploiting the constitutional rights. There are no constitutional rights, to use them to exploit as an American citizen that would like to state a privacy right by living where you want, shopping where you want, traveling where you want. That's the exploitation of the Constitution, where they're engaged in what is unlawful, inhumane, and psychologically harmful criminal conduct by the state that relies on the surface level assessment of what is supposedly a private citizen. There is no such private citizen in this specific environment. This is the prosecution of the federal government, the United States government. And this is the same federal government that is in the position, based on the supremacy doctrine, supposed to be prosecuting public corruption by the states. The federal government itself is corrupt. And I want to make sure that that's understood while you're looking at what is the impossible. While the same defendants in Unit 41 pace under the fake sun, that is by proof right here, at the same exact location on the east side of Units 33 through 48 at 9:46 in the morning. And you're looking at it above over what is, I'm at the same apartment walking into the parking lot where the fake sun moves as I move. You see it over while I'm inside of the apartment through Tracy Banks's patio glass door. At 4:40 in the afternoon, this video starts, and I am capturing
in the morning
that specific environment.
This morning, captured this month, and it's got engineering pictures looking at what is light activity. While you see this in this getting this vanity.
That's 8GEN638. He's doing the same thing that the license plate, the third party with the license plate, parked in the same parking lot under what is an idle fake sun, and the duration of time is the direct evidence of the malice, the knowledge, and the intent of a population that's not accidentally, ignorantly, or coincidentally engaging in that which is accomplishing surveillance on communication devices in an environment that is literally in real-time operation and changing and alteration based on whatever it is that I am doing. And what I am doing is documenting. The demons are triggered when I expose their demon possession and their demonic presence and behavior in the environment. And it is psychopathic while they engage in methods of targeting me, which is also proven under that fake sun and in that engineered light. And they are state actors worthy of federal prison and mental asylums, regardless of the corruption of the federal government.
This is mental illness, and Tracy Banks has the same mental illness. They're all agar impossible.
This is the entity that is, while I'm inside of the apartment, this is the fake sun that's shining in perfect alignment, and I'm looking at it over my head at over what is the same apartment building. And this is the duration of time, 9:46 to what is, I started this video at 4:40, so it's essentially 4:46 p.m. as you can see where I'm at in the video, 6 minutes and 16 seconds. And the video ends at 5 p.m. And not only that, on this day in particular, March 23rd, 2024, the fake sun never left. Clearly, I'm capturing it on video because I am already aware of the supernatural character of this criminal system that I've been targeted by, because the demons who make up the corrupt government in this country, they know who you are. And while they serve Satan in targeting those who both walk with Christ, and even if you have not yet come to Christ, they know who you are in the spirit. They know, and you represent a threat while they are threatened by your ability to identify them, such as the fact that they are demons, and also the malicious criminal pattern of conduct. That is the threat that's posed to a corrupt government that's riddled and infected with demons. That's the threat to the state that's filled with demons who work for law enforcement and work in the medical field and fill the population, the state of California, the average nuclear family that's gang stalking. That is demon possessed, serving Satan. Okay, who has many followers. And as you're also witnessing, numerosity is not a formidable adversary with regard to targeting a child of God. That is coming against Christ Jesus himself, who has already conquered Satan and all of his demons. But I will prosecute in the physical based on what this government has done, on what my family and they're not actually my family. I'm just using that word with regard to your ability to identify who I'm referencing. My blood relatives who literally agreed to engage in targeting me and received benefits, received profiting from, received incentive in order to profit from targeting me, and doing so in a manner that's designed to psychologically target an American citizen, designed to psychologically harm me in a way that would never be proven. While I would claim that my mom is stalking me, this is somebody that's going to claim, oh, you're crazy, you're paranoid, and you need help. And claiming to the gang stalking court, who has, again, corrupt public officials like the gang stalking police, like demons, who are psychopaths, who are engaging in a psychological warfare, which is with regard to the spiritual realm, but is also gang stalking while abusing his position in government and enabling what are demons like Tracy Banks and demons like Eric Spencer, who I know, and demons like the Ontario Police Department, a department I know, but I don't know any of those demons personally. And I don't have to in order to prosecute them. But this is how you have the abuse of government, the public corruption of an entity that's acting with the population. And it is the practice of exposing what is demonic activity that's designed to result in what is murder, the loss of life, and the mental devastation and the psychological harm of American citizens who very reasonably, not because they're mentally ill, but because those human beings are being subject to what are unlawful and inhumane experiments, and the federal government is still doing it. And terrorists such as Tracy Banks, terrorists who are acting with Tracy Banks and the people of the state that are incentivizing, targeting me in furtherance of murdering and kidnapping and defaming, such as the demons, the terrorists, the sex offenders at Woodside Senior Apartments in Unit 41. For example, who are pacing in video, which is the conclusive prosecution of them, the property, the city, the state. Okay, they're doing so with the unlawful threat to my life and safety and liberty, which is posed by the government itself. This is an unprecedented prosecution of the United States government that is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. And this is the bigger picture regarding what the states are incentivized in doing. But I want to be clear, they're not innocent. These are demons. They're already given over to darkness. Now, while it is the Lord's plan that people would come out of darkness, I maintain a constitutional right to not be subject to what is a murderous campaign trying to hunt me down, trying to falsely depict my character, because a bunch of Satan-serving criminals are after me for no purpose whatsoever when I've broken no law, and I suffer no mental illness whatsoever, while they try to create that illusion via gang stalking. This is speaking to what is the high level of malice and what remains, regardless of salvation in Christ. They are still corrupt, and they are still unworthy of holding those positions in government as public officials, as gang stalking fire chiefs, gang stalking county sheriffs, gang stalking police chiefs, gang stalking police officers, gang stalking mayors, gang stalking governors. Okay, the entity is engaging in what is under all circumstances corrupt. This is how the country operates. This is how the state operates. And the fact of what is demon possession, which is speaking to mental illness that is born of what is spiritual darkness. Yes, you need Christ, but you are unfit and disqualified to maintain that office, because I maintain a constitutional right to not be subject to it. And that is what I want to make sure is never lost in the message. Never lost. All right, it is currently 12:02 p.m. and you already know, based on what is the criminal engagement and the pattern of conduct, and I'll go ahead and show that to you now, since the entity has the fake sun, because this is where it remained while the entity is gang stalking in concert with the county sheriff's department. We're at 12:53 p.m. This fake sun that was over me at 9:46 this morning remains over me while I am documenting and am subject to this P.O.C. And the fake sun is over the same exact apartment building, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to go ahead and remind you about that. All right, the entity is indeed gang stalking, as you can see here at 9:46 in the morning, where you can see the state. And throughout this video, you'll see the demons who are operating planes, gang stalking, pacing multiple times in the sky space over this fake sun that's over in the same manner, like I documented on the afternoon of what is March 24, 2025, where at this point of the day, the fake sun that's going to set on the same on the opposite side. So this is where you're seeing at 9:46 at what is 12:53. This is where the fake sun advances while it's remaining at one address and is never anywhere else, such as Miami, Florida, or in Las Vegas, Nevada. The entity is keeping the fake sun as the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is intentionally and knowingly arriving in the path and communicating an unlawful threat. And this is what the federal government uses to engage in what through a lower level demon such as Shannon Dykes' San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, who have engaged in multiple kidnappings seeking to obstruct justice, while the demons know who I am, have engaged in psychological warfare, targeting me spiritually while gang stalking me in the physical, which is what is happening under the fake sun that's going to be over the same exact apartment building and literally the same apartment while this demon crosses path.
P.O.C. Hi, what's your name? Nothing to say under the fake sun, Satan? Okay, that's a sex offender. All right, monitor.
That's the entity that is indeed gang stalking into the fake sun. And watch as I walk to the apartment building, so does the fake sun remain over. This is a supernatural occurrence while the fake sun is over the same exact apartment building you're looking at it now, where again the state is gang stalking in this video as well. This is the entity that is gang stalking. This is apartment number 48, while the entity engages in the pattern of rising and setting the fake sun over one building where I'm at. This is what's happening where I'm at work and where I'm at home in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens, where speaker companies, the city of Los Angeles, LA County, LAPD is engaged in the satanic targeting system, spiritually targeting me, engaging in psychological